Hi everyone, it's Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 355 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Ukraine Defense Contact Group, known as Ramstein format, organized by the United States, will meet at NATO headquarters in Brussels on February 14th, reports Ukrinform. Ukrainian Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov will take part in this already ninth meeting of the group. According to the minister, the key issues on the agenda are the protection of the Ukrainian sky, including with aviation, the development of a tank coalition, formation of a margin of safety for ammunition, training programs for Ukrainian soldiers, stability support, logistics maintenance, repair, practical implementation of the military Schengen. It is expected that the partner countries will announce the number of tanks for Ukraine and the terms of their provision. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg believes that the NATO allies need to be extremely focused on the issues of maintenance of the weapons they have already delivered to Ukraine, while the transfer of fighter jets needs to be thoroughly discussed, reports Interfax Ukraine. At a press conference after the NATO defense ministers' meeting, Stoltenberg said that air defense systems and artillery already delivered to Ukraine need to have enough ammunition, spare parts, proper maintenance, and logistics. He thinks that at the moment it is important to focus on the delivery of weapons that Ukraine could use in the near future, armored vehicles and tanks, for example. NATO Secretary General stressed that it's urgent to provide Ukraine with more weapons, ammunition, spare parts, fuel, as this way more lives can be saved because Russia doesn't plan to stop its offensive actions. He also said that it is necessary to ramp up production of weapons and ammunition. According to NATO Secretary General, the Russian war in Ukraine is consuming an enormous amount of munitions and depleting Allied stockpiles. And the current rate of Ukraine's ammunition expenditure is many times higher than NATO's current rate of production. Stoltenberg said that allies should increase their defense spending. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Germany, Annalena Baerbock, said that the government in Berlin is currently not considering the issue of providing fighter jets to Ukraine, reports European Pravda. She stressed that this is not the subject of their debate. Polish President Andrzej Duda and Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak visited a military base and training ground in southwestern Poland where Ukrainian servicemen learned to operate Leopard 2 tanks, reports Zahidnet. The Polish military department noted that the training lasts up to 10 hours every day, 7 days a week. Duda specified that overall the training will take up to a month. If you like what we do, you can support us by subscribing to our Patreon, following the link in the notes to this episode. Our Patreon supporters get early access to full episodes of Highlights from Ukraine Long Talk interviews. If you're not ready to commit yourself to monthly support, you can send us a one-time tip via PayPal, following the link in the description. Valery Zaluzhny, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, believes that Ukraine's victory should mean not only the liberation of territories, but also the strengthening of the Ukrainian army so that Russia will never attack Ukraine again, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Zaluzhny shared this opinion in a phone conversation with General Christopher Cavoli, NATO Supreme Allied Commander in Europe and Commander of US European Command. The conversation took place on the eve of a meeting of the Ramstein Defense Contact Group. Zaluzhny and Cavoli discussed the supply of international military aid to Ukraine and the training of Ukrainian units in other countries. The Commander-in-Chief of Ukraine's armed forces shared with his American counterpart his assessment of the operational situation on the front line of the Russian-Ukrainian war and plans for further actions. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky has signed a decree according to which a serviceman with the rank of Lieutenant General or Vice Admiral can be appointed to the post of First Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. At the same time, the law states that the Minister of Defense and all his deputies should be civilians. According to the decree, the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine should also submit to the National Security and Defense Council proposals to strengthen democratic civilian control over the bodies and formations of the security and defense sector, in accordance with NATO standards. According to Liganet sources, a possible candidate for the position of the First Deputy Minister is Lieutenant General Alexander Pavlyuk, commander of the forces in Kyiv, hero of Ukraine, former commander of the Joint Forces operation in Donbas. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó announced that he arrived in Belarus to discuss the peace in Ukraine, reports Radio Liberty. According to him, all members of the international community should act to ensure immediate peace and avoid steps that could prolong or lead to an escalation of the war. According to Szijjártó, the war in Ukraine is becoming more and more brutal, and it is necessary to save human lives, and this can only be done with the help of peace. He stressed that communication channels should be open to convey the message of the call for peace. The visit took place before the EU meeting at which new sanctions are expected to be imposed against Belarus. As our format is designed to give you only the most important news, we feel that on some topics more in-depth discussion is needed, and that is exactly what we are doing. In a new segment called Long Talk, we discuss different topics in and around Ukraine with invited guests, from experts to eyewitnesses and ordinary Ukrainians who lived through the war. Our first episode on Ukraine's war economy is already out. Be sure to check it out wherever you listen to our podcast. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.